Hello everyone, welcome to another video. I am Digital Master. Thanks for being here, and today I want to talk a little bit about as you see here. A little note to the solo players from Rich Tyler, one of the senior devs at CIG for Star Citizen. And so basically some concerns were brought up about the lack of information regarding solo players, in a sense, as far as like what's there for them with all these updates that were coming out in CitizenCon. What's the target for solo players, right? What's the end game for solo players? Which that was basically the concern, I'll say. So just a little bit of uh, clarification for me. I am a part of an org. I own an org, and so from where I'm sitting, this isn't that much of a concern for me per se, but I do completely sympathize with solo players, right? I obviously there will be times where I'll log into the game to have a solo session, um, but I did want to talk a little bit about the solo versus group play with Star Citizen. Um, I definitely solicit your thoughts in the comment section below as well. Is a conversation, right? At the end of the day. But let me first read what Rich has said in response to that general concern. So he says, "Sir, so firstly, sorry for the slow response. I have unsurprisingly been very busy post CitizenCon with 4.0 and Q1 initiatives. Secondly, I wanted to reassure everyone that AI blades are a part of the 1.0 plan. So keep that in mind. AI blades, and we'll talk about what those are in just a minute, but they will be, according to Rich, right, available in Alpha and Star Citizen 1.0 release, which is the official release of the game, right? Let's keep reading. So they will not be as effective as other players, and they will take additional power to run. We will also be offering a way of upgrading them through tiers, but again, they will never be as good as a good player. Pay attention to the wording here too. Again, I don't think you should read too much into things, but he says, and I think I love the way he put this. Let's read it one more time. We will also be offering a way of upgrading them through tiers, but again, they will never be as good as a good player. Let's make sure we focus on the words a little bit, basically taking his statements at face value, right? And not adding or taking things away from what he's saying here. Benefit of the doubt to a degree too, right? Either way. Also, as AI blades provide most of the functionality, NPC crew will most likely be a post 1.0 plan. Again, we're going to focus on the words. Most likely. But as I read that, I do think it's probably going to definitely be post 1.0. If they could fit it in, of course, I think they would if they possibly could. But in my mind, I believe what he's saying. It's probably going to be beyond 1.0, right? That comes. Now, as I said in the presentation, Star Citizen is a universe that caters to all players, and that most definitely includes solo players. As with all games, some things will be more suitable to solo than group play and vice versa. Very fair statement. And we're going to talk about each line again. I'm just going to read it through first one time here. With that said, I better get back to work because I have 2 games to ship for you all. Cheers, Rich. All right. So we're going to go line by line, and I just want to talk about it, right? Again, this is just to kind of get all the points out and sort of lay it all on the table. And then again, I'll share my thoughts, but I'm very curious what you have to say. Again, discourse is great, especially as backers and as part of the community of Star Citizen, right? So let's skip the first part. The second part. Secondly, I want to reassure everyone that AI blades are a part of 1.0. So let's talk about AI blades first, and then we'll talk about NPC and tie in some of the conversations I've seen in the community around this. You can share with me again any conversations or different points that you might have heard or brought up yourself. But AI blades is basically, for example, if you go to Microtech and you go into I forgot the actual name of the store, but I think either way it's a Microtech store. I forgot if it has its own name though. But you go all the way down to the bottom of the lowest floor, you'll see AI blades. Actually, they're not functioning, but you'll see them, right? And so the idea is that every ship, I don't know if every ship, but I'm going to venture and say most ships will have these AI blade slots. and it will probably be tuned to specific functions of your ship, whether that be um, weapons or some of the guns or the missile system. Now I'm speculating a little bit because I'm trying to go off memory of exactly what we have heard from CIG about the actual functionality of AI blades, but the overall idea is that they're pretty much AI controlled aspects of your ship, whether that be guns, and I'm thinking maybe even, mm, dare I say, shields or other component functions that help maintain your ship in some capacity. Again, I don't recall hearing much from CIG about the intricacies of how that will work, but you can sort of put two and two together for some things. Of course, we won't know anything until they definitively break that down for us, right? So I'm not going to reach too far too far there, but you get the idea, right? These AI blades are supposed to help in the context of a solo player, like a godsend, right? If you don't have anyone to play with, or if you just simply choose to play alone, it's kind of nice to have that option, especially if you're flying a ship that is probably better operated with more than one person, right? And that's where that starts to shine, the whole idea of AI blades or NPC crew. Of course, NPC crew is pretty straightforward. I don't need to explain that, I don't think. Just NPCs that are able to work for you. If you ever played games like Elite Dangerous or I don't remember if Eve had that, but Elite Dangerous and a couple other games I've played that had that. I just can't think of it off the top of my head, the names of those games. But in Elite Dangerous, you can hire crew, right? And of course, that's a little easier to do because there's not much animation and simulation of those physical characters in the game, right? You don't have to render those in the game. They're just pretty much UI based, but they're actually doing work in your ship and operating different aspects of your ship where you can't, or you don't have anyone else to do. So same idea, right? And that's the way it's going to be with Star Citizen. It's just that it's going to be pretty deep. They did mention some things about how that will work. I could just be forgetting the AI Blaze conversations that may have happened, but that's just what I remember. But so yeah, so we have this confirmation from Rich that AI Blades are part of the 1.0 plan. Now, again, if we focus on the words here, this is not actually a guarantee that it's going to come in 1.0. So he says, secondly, I wanted to reassure everyone that AI Blades are a part of the 1.0 plan. Plan. That means things can change. And so please situate yourself to prepare for that possibility. I know some won't, but I just urge you, those who watch my content, please set the expectation of that is actually possible. All right, so let's continue. They will not be as effective as other players. Now that's a little bit interesting. He says it's almost like it's not exactly the same as the last part of this. He says they will not be as effective as other players and they will take additional power to run. We will also be offering a way of upgrading them through tiers, but again, they will never be as good as a good player. So there's a little bit of wordplay there. I'll say, because the first part of that sentence can theoretically cancel out the second portion. But basically, I think the biggest takeaway from this is that, in general and conceptually, AI blades will not be a one-to-one replacement for an active or actual person, right? Actual person. So, and I honestly think that's fair, right? Um, if you take the bias out, right? I really genuinely think that's fair. I could see arguments where, well, maybe I just don't have, or maybe I just truly don't enjoy group play, right? And if that's the case, is it completely out of fairness to, again, it don't have to be equal to players, but you start to wonder how what's the gap there, right? But at the end of the day, I think it is fine. I think it's fine. I think there should be incentive for grouping with people. I think there should be incentive for the work it takes to operate an organization. I think that's fair. It's not because again, you have to think about it from both sides, right? And again, this is just the way that I think through things. I try to sit in both seats essentially. So if I'm sitting in a solo player seat, I can understand why I might want that, right? If I own a big ship or even a decently sized ship that maybe requires two people, and let's say I just didn't plan to ever play with other people, well, there's many MMOs out there that cater to solo players, right? In this same vein, where you can basically do a lot of things. You're still sort of gate kept out of certain content, right? Like certain in-game content, because you need to, if raids, for example, you're not going to do a solo raid for the most part. So some of those rewards you probably never see if all you ever do is play solo, right? Or unless you buy it off the shop or something like that. But again, the same thing is here. I don't really see any difference in that, right? There's some incentive for playing in a group, and I think this is fair. So again, if you're sitting in the seat of the org player, it's very understandable because if you're an org leader or if you're just in an org in general, the effort it takes to run a org, I can only imagine about the bigger size orgs. I only run a small one, a very small one, but that takes work. That definitely takes work. So yeah, I think I think it's fair. I genuinely think it's fair for that to be the case. Notice he didn't say it's going to be this like crazy gap. I just think like I like the last part of the sentence. I think that's probably really good, right? Because you're sort of rewarding players for being efficient at a thing. But if like I'll be honest, if it gets to the point where AI blades are still not as good as terrible players or bad players, then I'm like, you know, for example, like you can get an answer from ChatGPT that can be better than an answer you get from a human. So, on a specific topic, right? So it's fair to say that, all players, at all skill levels, specifically the lower tier skill levels, should be automatically better than AI blades. But I think that's just going to sort itself out anyway. But anyway, I digress. Let's continue on. Also, as AI blades provide most of the functionality, NPC crew will most likely be a 1.0 plan. That's pretty straightforward and understandable, I suppose. But this is part of the contention, I think, because in a way, and again, playing devil's advocate, I can see it. Solo players feel like they're being forgotten about a little bit there, right? Because once the game goes release proper, they don't have all the tools that is technically supposed to be available to them to achieve the goals that they have as a player, right? Whereas, and I guess it's still yet to be seen, so this is an interesting statement I'm about to make, but seemingly group players will have all the tools at their disposal at 1.0. And I think that's the foundation of the concern, in my personal opinion. All right, so as I said in the presentation, Star Citizen is a universe that caters to all players and that most definitely includes solo players. As with all games, some things would be more suitable to solo than group play and vice versa, which is basically what I just said. So yeah, I think if you just look at MMOs in general, and that's the type of games I think you should compare to. Yes, there's a lot of solo play, and I've actually argued this point in Spectrum and Reddit at different times, I'm pretty sure. But there's probably more MMOs that, interestingly enough, cater to the solo player. But I would say that that's subjective. I think the top ones are probably ones that actually have a good balance, right? Where both groups, have content that's more catered to them. You know what I mean? Anyway, I digress. I think the point is made, but I'm curious what you think. How do you feel? What side of the spectrum are you on that in regard to? Are you planning to play Star Citizen as a solo player or as part of a small group? Or are you going to be in a full blown org, whether that's small, medium, or large? And give me your thoughts on this topic. Of course, there's a lot of thoughts to be had in this entire thread. I'm not going to read every one. Of course, I'm sure it got a little bit heated in here. Um, I'll save you all that. And if you want to go look at that, you can. But I think it's good to have healthy conversation around things like this, because a point can be made without, ripping everybody's head off. So either way, I digress. Give me your thoughts. On that note, though, before I go, I had to do this, but I have an org. And if you are a solo player, and you refuse to move off that, I respect that 1000%. So I am speaking to those of you who maybe are on the fence and you're like, okay, maybe I should try to start looking for an organization. Please take a look at my organization. Yes, shameless plug there. Um, I'll let you take a look at it. All the links are in the description. But I want to give you like a brief description of what we're about and what my ultimate goals are with this organization. So my ultimate goal is to create an organization that caters to a wide range of play styles and players. So basically active and casual friendly. And I'm trying to build a foundation and build a structure within the organization that really facilitates that, right? I've been part of many different organizations, good and bad. And with Star Citizen, I've been part of good ones. I've seen, but outside of Star Citizen, I've seen all kinds of things. And fortunately, I haven't experienced that with Star Citizen organizations, but I will say, I'm sure it exists. But I think when you play games, everybody has a different reason why they play, right? But at least for me, when I play games, especially MMOs, I'm trying to immerse myself in that experience, and I'm trying to do that with friends and people that I enjoy playing the game with, who are good people, friendly, kind, respectful. And so I'm trying to build an organization that encapsulates that, right? I don't, I'm avoiding drama. There's no need for that. We all have our own personal lives and we all have things that we have to face, right? Why should we have to do the same thing in a game environment? No reason for that. Anyway, I'm trying to build an organization like that. So come check us out. Take a look at my website. Take a look at our Discord. We have a Discord as well. And of course, our organization on the Star Citizen side. We have a trailer that I just recently created. So check us out. Take a look. See if it's up your alley. If it's something that you would be interested in, definitely feel free to reach out to me directly if you want to, on whether that's Spectrum, on Discord. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have. But I'll be excited to have you along. So come join us. Check us out at least. Reach out to me with any questions. But thank you for being here. Thanks for the conversation. And definitely still let me know your thoughts. I think this is a very interesting topic. And I think it is something that we should have a discussion about. But just a healthy one, right? Let's just be nice to each other, all right? Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Digital Master. I'll see you in the next video.